Whittaker Weekly is a 3-episode anime discussion podcast where two brothers discuss a show of their choice. The show can be anything from a current season flop to a decades-old classic. What are they going to talk about next? Who knows? They sure don't. Say hi to our special guest real fast. Hello, special guest.
Hello, special interviewer.
This is our friend Matt. He loves anime about as much as we do. He's going to be our special guest today for our special season finale. This is episode 25, and we decided every 25th episode we're going to go ahead and do a recap episode. So you guys are in for something special tonight. We're going to go ahead and just kind of discuss each show that we've talked about. Obviously not go in depth about them like we try to do with each episode, but we're going to go ahead and just kind of follow up and say, you know, did we continue watching it? Were our expectations met? That sort of thing. Anything you want to add to that, Lee?
No, that's pretty much what we're going to do, but let's go ahead and start off with the news.
With the news. So there is something that is completely taking over the internet right now. It is a wonderful, wonderful creation known as Bowsette. Now, people are familiar with Rule 63 of the internet. If there is a character, there will be a gender-swapped version of that character somewhere on the internet. Bowsette is not Rule 63. A lot of people are saying it's just Rule 63. It's not.
Who could?
Bowsette is what happened when somebody took the ending of... I'm going to go ahead and back up a little bit more. So Nintendo's announced that they are releasing New Super Mario Bros. Wii U Deluxe for the Switch. And in it, they have released some new power-ups. And one of the new power-ups is the Super Crown. And when Toadette, who is the small little toad with the braids, when Toadette puts the crown on, Nintendo says that toads are androgynous. They don't have a gender; they're genderless. My mouth doesn't want to perform the word. But when Toadette puts this on its head, Toadette turns into Peach. Peachette is what she's called. She's Peach with blonde hair braids like Toadette's little mushroom braids, and her dress kind of looks like a mushroom outfit, and it's kind of adorable. Well, somebody took the ending.
Gender-assigning crown.
A gender-assigning crown.
I have to remember that one.
You're not going to forget it after this.
In Dark Souls 2, there's a coffin where if you go into that coffin, it swaps your character's gender. So
that horrible thing.
Yep. But anyway, So someone took the ending of Super Mario Odyssey, where Peach is in the wedding dress, and both Mario and Bowser have flowers, and they try to, get down on one knee and kind of propose to her at the same time, and Peach rejects both of them and goes off. Mario is upset, and Bowser's upset, and Bowser turns to Mario and shows Mario, and Matt's now seen the picture, shows Mario the Super Crown, and then Bowser puts the crown on and turns into a goth-looking Peach with red hair, horns, black outfits, spiked bracelets, and stuff like that.
Something right out of Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid.
Yes.
Yes!
The day that this comic was released, Koopa Hime, which translates into Princess Koopa, became the #1 topic on Japan Twitter. And after about half a day, fans settled on the name Bowsette. And it has taken the internet by storm. To the point where even famous manga artists are drawing pictures of Bowsette. The creator of Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid has drawn some Bowsette pictures. The artist Murata who does the manga version, not the webcomic, but the manga version of One Punch Man, he has drawn a picture of Bowsette.
The creator of Pop Team Epic.
The creator of Pop Team Epic.
Did a Bowsette and Mario homage with his character design style.
So, yeah. Bowsette has, originally Bowsette was blonde because Peach is blonde, but people draw her with red hair, tan skin, just a bunch of different things. Like you can see here, a lot of different designs for Bowsette.
But the crazy thing is, somehow this fan-made character has actually boosted Nintendo's stock price.
Yeah, their stock price went up, what, 40 cents or something like that?
A pretty significant percentage, actually.
Yeah, it went up like crazy.
More so than any game release in the last little while has made it go.
Mm-hmm.
No game in the last little while has dared add a hot redhead to anything they've made. Nintendo deserves the win.
It's not Nintendo that did it. It was a fan.
Oh, it was a fan.
Yeah, it was a fan.
Well, then Nintendo owes someone a royalty check.
Here's an amazing picture of Bowsette in place of Bowser in a bunch of games,
In the game situations.
like she's falling into lava in Super Mario Brothers, she's being thrown around by her tail in Mario 64, and then she's knocking over Toad in Mario Kart.
There's another great picture where they've given up. They're so sick of the meme that's just going around that they throw the crown into lava, and then the lava monster becomes a lava monster-ette.
Mario's like, I'm so sick of the art, and Peach is like, I'm so sick of all the porn, and Bowser's like, but I liked being sexy, and they throw
the attention.
I like it, and then Peach throws the crown into the lava, and then a lava Peach comes out of the lava and starts attacking them. It's kind of amazing.
So that would be one of the creatures from Super Mario World that would just jump out of the lava, and that got the crown.
Well, when you've got the invincibility star, you can kill the fireballs that come out of the lava at you.
So, in less than 6 hours on September 6th, Bowsette tweets went from over 400,000 to over 1 million tweets. So, yeah, it was huge. And it's still going. I don't know if it's going as strong, but it has its own Know Your Meme page. And there's a ton of artwork on it. There's already 475 images on it.
Holy cow.
So yeah, no, that's Bowsette for you. But anyways, that's it for the Bowsette news. I just knew it was something that we'd have to talk about today. Mostly because, one, I think it's hysterical. Two, I mean, we've got famous manga artists doing some pretty cool renditions of the character as well. So we're probably not going to see her in official Nintendo games in the future. But it's a fun idea.
It is.
All right, and the next bit of news, this is actually something that I just learned about today. I'm very, very excited about it. I think the news just came out today. But Square Enix is teaming up with the creators of a certain magical index, which we've covered in this show.
We have.
And they're making a mobile JRPG. Now, I do wish it was a console game instead of a mobile one, but with how many, I just picked up a tablet today, and, how many smart devices are sold every year,
Yeah, it's market saturation. You've got a lot more. You got a lot more people with tablet
on second screen than on console.
And Square's games for the phones, for smartphones and stuff, they've been pretty good. They've been pretty solid.
They are. They're
Except, I mean to say the original content ones, the ones that are ports of their old games, leave something to be desired, just because the control schemes are weird. But yeah, I'm excited for it.
Okay.
Any other news? Anything else you guys wanted to cover before we jump into what we're covering today?
I've got nothing.
Okay, well, let's get into it. Our first episode was Gintama. Has anybody here watched any more other than the first 3 episodes of Gintama, excluding me because I'm like on episode 180 something?
Yeah, when we started, you had watched Gintama for a while, and and this was one of the anime that you inflicted on me for
because you haven't watched it.
Because I hadn't watched it.
And let me guess, you haven't watched it anymore.
I haven't watched it anymore. There's just too much to watch, and
it's one of those shows that I have in the background a lot, just because it is a comedy and it's silly.
Well, I'm a bit of a purist. I prefer subs over dubs, and but I don't understand enough Japanese to just have background noise from subs.
My Japanese isn't that good to understand a lot of what happens in Gintama. You have to have a real big knowledge of not only manga, but Japanese history as well to really get the humor. And not just history, but just Japanese pop culture through the ages is stuff that Gintama makes fun of.
I see.
So it doesn't translate very well into English.
Right. So I haven't really delved much more into it. I know you want me to.
I want everyone to watch more Gintama because it's fantastic.
It is.
The manga is wrapping up this year, I believe, and the show's going to be wrapping up with it. Not at the same time, but yeah. So.
Okay.
All right. I guess that's it for Gintama episode 2. How about we just do the even odds? I'll do the odd titles and you do the even titles.
Sounds like a plan. All right. So the next episode
really
that we
quick,
watched.
I watched more Gintama.
What'd you watch?
Oh, what'd you watch? How much did you watch?
I'm on episode 98. The gangsters are still my favorite.
Well, tell us your thoughts on Gintama.
Whew. It's funny. It's for me. It actually gets me out of a rut. I do a lot of gaming, and when I do my role playing games, and when I also do my writing, sometimes I'll find myself stuck in a place and I'll just be like, I need something. Because I don't want to keep using like all of my same ideas.
Right.
And if I need something new and fresh, and to put a horrible or serious spin on something,
that Gintama is so good
silly,
at doing.
Yes. Gintama is a great source of ideas that you'll hear immediately and be like, oh, well, that's ridiculous. But if you did it this way.
Yeah, I love Gintama. I think it's a fantastic show. But like I said, it's something that you just have to watch a couple episodes every now and then. Is something. But with how busy we've been, I've been, especially over the last couple of weeks, I haven't really had time to just watch Gintama.
Right.
So
Gintama, because it's not exactly linear, it is one that if you just want to Google what the best episodes are to watch, the ones that everyone loves the most.
Okay.
Again, for those people that don't have a lot of time, but if they want to watch something...
one of the reasons I haven't gotten back into it is because the episode that I'm on is apparently the beginning of a new arc, and it's going to be multiple episodes long, like I think a dozen episodes or so.
And you're waiting for it to be binge available?
I'm waiting. Well, it's already available. It's just I'm waiting for me to have the time to be able to watch the episodes, especially since I watched a lot of the other stuff that we've covered.
Right.
All right. Next up.
Episode 2, we watched A Certain Magical Index. Now, I finished season 1 of A Certain Magical Index.
In order to get ready for episode 23.
Yes, because episode 23 we watched A Certain Scientific Railgun, which is a parallel series. It was kind of interesting watching Certain Magical Index because Index isn't in as much of it as you'd think it was, given that she's the title character.
It's more about Toma.
It is more. It is much more about Toma and events that go on around with him. And they introduce major. They seem to have like 2 or 3 or 4 episode arcs that introduce new characters.
Yeah.
And they're just slowly building up the cast over time. Like there was a 3 or 4 episode arc that introduced Accelerator, and another one that introduced the Convergence, or whatever she's called. That was the last little bit.
Is that the Shrine Maiden?
No, not the Shrine Maiden. She's the girl who doesn't really exist, but she's a manifestation of everybody's powers all at once.
Oh yeah, her. Okay.
Yeah, she's in the last few episodes of the first season.
Okay.
Have you watched any of
No, but it sounds like fun.
Certain Magical Index?
Certain Magical Index is actually like if you we chatted on the way over here. You said you started watching A Certain Scientific Railgun.
Yes.
I would recommend stopping that and then watching Certain Magical Index.
Certain Magic Index
Because A Certain Magical Index came first, and then A Certain Scientific Railgun was made as a parallel series.
That said, if you get to a certain episode in A Certain Certain Scientific Railgun, and then stop, and then watch Index, and then go back to Railgun, chronologically, it'll make sense.
Yeah.
Because
Railgun starts before.
Railgun starts before, gets to a point, and then they become parallel.
But it also ends before Index ends.
Okay.
And one of the reasons I'm glad, I'll just go ahead and spoiler it, I've watched all of Index and all of Railgun. Mostly because on October 5th...
Now, both seasons or just the first season of both? All 4 seasons?
All 48 episodes of both shows I've seen.
All that exists.
I'm very excited because in October, I believe October 5th, a certain a certain magical index 3 starts. And
is it a certain scientific accelerator coming
I
out?
thought that's what it was called. That's what Doug said it was called at one point. But everything I see online says that it's called a certain magical index 3 is what it's being called.
Okay.
And this one is people who've read the manga and know the story say that this next season is going to be just amazing when it comes to the story.
Okay.
So I'm really looking forward to it.
Nice.
But anyway, I've watched all of a certain magical index.
Mm-hmm.
Index is absolutely adorable throughout the entire thing. I don't know what else there is to say about the show. I think it's just incredible. It didn't let me. It grabbed a hold of me and didn't let me go the entire time.
It's delightful. It's comedic, but it also gets very serious and dark at times.
Mm-hmm.
And it has a good balance
Mm-hmm.
of between humor and
Mm-hmm.
drama.
Yeah.
Magical Index, is it sci-fi superheroes as well, or is it something else?
It's the same city. You haven't met him yet, but there's a guy who, when Misaka, she gets surrounded by some thugs and they start flirting with her.
Uh-huh.
And she wants nothing to do with them. And then this guy comes up and says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you so much for waiting. Let's go ahead and go." Did you see that episode?
Yes, I have.
Okay, that's Toma. He's the main character of a certain of a certain magical index.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so his power, the ability to negate all magic or all science, either espers or sorcerers, with his right hand.
Oh, right, they're espers. That's what it is.
Yes.
They call anybody with esper powers, they say they're scientific. Anybody with sorcerer powers, they say are magical.
Yeah.
So scientific index, magical index, scientific railgun.
And Index is this 14-year-old girl who dresses up like a nun, and she has over 100,000 magical books memorized. And there are times
She
where
doesn't have any magical powers. That's just her ability is that they call her Index because they put all of these books in her brain, and she can get to any book, any page, anytime, complete photographic memory of all these books.
Index isn't a lot in the show. But it's still named after her because while she's
a lot of things happen around her.
I'd say that she's the character who brings the inciting incident to the story.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've watched the entire thing. I highly recommend it.
Okay.
All right. Anything else before we go on to episode 3?
No. Let's talk about episode 3.
Episode 3 was Excel Saga, which I don't know if you've watched anymore. I watched one more episode of it. I've already seen the entire show.
Right.
So I know what's coming. But I wanted to just laugh one day, so I just watched another episode after that.
Okay.
And it made me laugh the entire time.
The anime that makes fun of anime.
Mm-hmm. It's Gintama on crack.
So this is another anime that Andrew inflicted on me because I hadn't seen any of it before we had started this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched the first 3 episodes for the show. And then I watched one more episode, and I haven't watched any more because the episode I watched had content that, as my children were walking into the room, I couldn't have continuing playing.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not for children.
No.
Not for small children.
So I haven't had the chance to watch more of it.
Okay.
But you do know what your cats are for now.
Minchie's a dog, but his cats. So
yes, my cats are planned food storage.
Your cats are an emergency food supply. Okay. Next is Psycho-Pass.
Psycho-Pass. I really wanted to watch more of
show.
this.
Uh-huh.
It's a really good show.
My problem, so I watched the first 3 episodes of Psycho-Pass for the show, and then I got halfway through episode 4 when I realized so much was going on that I had to devote all of my attention to the show as it's playing, and it's not just something that I could, have going on while I'm playing something on my phone or something like that. It requires complete focus.
Pay attention. You're gonna miss.
And so, because it required complete focus, and because the content is not, family friendly, I just didn't find the time or the hours to watch more of it.
We can go ahead and add it to our anime night, especially since the shows we're watching currently, I think, are coming to a close here pretty soon.
That sounds about right.
So actually, no, I think Attack on Titan is going to still keep going. I could be wrong, but I'll have to look into it. I do know we're watching Overlord 3 together, and I don't think there's much more Overlord 3.
Yeah, episode 11 came out
last week.
Yes, episode 11 of Overlord 3 came out last week. 12 was delayed. It should come out next week. The question is whether it's going to be a 13 or 26 or 24 episode run. Because season 1 was, I think, 12 or 13 episodes. Season 2 was 24. So I don't know if season 3 is short or long.
It might be. I mean, I just barely ordered, like, I started getting into the light novels for Overlord just because I've really enjoyed writing them. You might enjoy them as well. The creator for Overlord was a Dungeons and Dragons DM in Japan, and he played for years. He actually wanted to be a writer, but he gave up on that and decided to just go ahead and be a businessman, a salaryman, as they say in Japan. So he was working in an office, but he had D&D, and so he played D&D with his friends every week. But they all stopped coming, and so he couldn't scratch that itch any longer, so he decided to go ahead and just screw it, and he just decided to write books.
And how did that joke online go? It goes, I've decided I'm going to have my own D&D campaign, but I'm going to play all the characters and DM it all, and I'm not going to have any other players.
So you want to write a book?
I'm told this is called writing a book.
I'm told this is called writing a book. No,
I love Overlord.
Yes.
And Overlord's somewhere on the list, which is why I wasn't bringing it up yet. But
I don't think Overlord is on the list.
You guys didn't do Overlord?
It's because we've already been watching all of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we talk about Overlord a lot.
Oh, it's from Anime Night. It wasn't from the podcast. That's right.
Yeah.
We
I went out and I binge watched that because it came up in Anime Night.
Yeah.
That's
Season 3, though, there's some just amazing things with Ainz showing how evil he actually is.
I get the impression
we are rooting for the bad guys.
I get the impression that he played a video game as a bad guy, and has all these evil NPCs around him, and he can't change alignment anyway. But he's treating it as if he were playing as a bad guy, as if when you're playing a video game, there's no consequences for killing the characters in the game, and so I get the feeling that he thinks he's still in a game.
I don't know. I don't think so. Mostly because I've been reading the light novels.
Okay.
And there's a lot of more inner dialogue in the light novels that they don't have in the books.
So
and at the end of each book, they have pages that show character stats and what classes they made to make their characters and whatnot. He has negative 500 karma, which is the absolute most evil you can be in the game, from his game. So far, the only person whose karma matches his is Albedo.
What's Demiurge's karma?
I think it's negative 300.
Really? He's not as evil?
No.
The devil is not as evil as the Overlord. That's amazing. Considering what that guy does in his spare time.
And the butler, what's his name?
Sebastian.
Sebastian. I don't think it's Sebastian, but
it's Sebastian.
Yeah, Sebas. So let's just say
Sebastian.
Sebas. He actually has good karma.
I believe this.
Well, and I totally believe that as well, considering he cared for the human girl and saved her. So
and what he did to that criminal organization in a heartbeat. It's like, I don't like you.
We don't care if these guys are butchering these because we want to see these guys get slaughtered. Anyway, we're losing track. I haven't watched any more Saga Pass just because, again, it's a very in-depth, deep show, and I just haven't had time to really dive into something.
Yeah, maybe we should pick that up on Anime Night.
I think we're gonna have to.
I'm only on episode 5, I think.
Okay, well I'm in the middle of 4, so if we'd
have to start from 4.
Okay.
So, okay. Next up, episode 5, Fist of the Blue Sky Regenesis. I have not watched any more of this.
No, we decided when we watched the first 3 episodes, we decided that this was not for us.
Yeah, well, I still want to see it just because the world is interesting, but this is a sequel series, which we didn't know when we first picked it. I want to see the original, that way we'd have more of the story as well. So I think that's one of the reasons I really haven't gone back into it, because I want to see the original.
Do you know what it's a sequel to? What's the original?
I think it's just called
Fist of the Blue Sky?
Fist of the Blue Sky is the original.
Fist of the Blue Sky is the original one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Fist of the Blue Sky shows the main character joining the organization, and it ends with him marrying the woman who's the leader of the organization.
Yeah, we see them together as an item in the show that we were watching. But I just wasn't keen on the way that they're doing the 3D animation. It was just
it's not as bad as Berserk, but it's not great.
Right.
It's not, and that's actually, There's the new show from the Avatar creators, like the Dragon Prince on Netflix.
Yes.
Yes.
I want to watch that, but at the same time, just watching, like, they decided to go ahead and have an animation where it skips, CG animation where it skips frames, so it looks more hand-drawn.
Mhm.
It doesn't look more hand-drawn, it looks poorly animated.
It does. It's my only problem with that show. It's beautiful
So-
written. It's really awesome. I like the story.
Hopefully they'll learn their lessons from the complaints from season 1 and, actually do some decent animation for season 2. But anyway, I do want to give that show a try. But anyway, there's not really much more for us to cover about Fist of the Blue Sky, so let's move on to episode 6.
Didn't see it. Didn't have time.
Yeah.
Episode 6, I'm happy to report, is something we did finish.
We watched it for anime night.
Magical Girl Ore. Oh, what a show that was.
Did you
Is this the mummy one?
No, that's How to Keep a Mummy.
Magical Girl Ore is about a girl who gets the powers of a magical girl, but to become a magical girl, she turns into a beefcake boy in a magical girl costume.
And
why? Why is this a thing?
It's a
Oh my
hysterical comedy.
goodness.
It's so good.
It's
Her
episode 6. I missed this episode.
her adorable
I'm ashamed. I missed
her,
this episode.
her adorable chibi sidekick has the face of a yakuza.
Whoa.
I'm gonna pull it up. You keep just straining. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it up.
Why? Yeah.
He actually
is a yakuza,
Yakuza.
who turns into a chibi version who's convinced that he's cute, despite being horrifying. And if you don't agree that he's
this
cute,
is
he will
So
beat you up.
his name is Kokoro.
This is so funny.
which is-
Who made this thing?
I'm not sure who made it.
It's a
Thing,
manga
dude.
series. It was a manga series first, then it got turned into the anime. So, but anyway,
But it's absolutely beautiful. The best character is her mom.
Um,
Because her mom used to be a magical
they
girl as
edit
well.
out all the violence. So there's just like the violence is
Like,
so horrifying. They
well, that's
blur
why
it
I'm
out.
asking. So just like in my Bride the Mermaid, they blur all the really
And
graphic
there
nasty
is-
stuff. Yeah.
That's
given-
him in his Yakuza full form.
Oh,
This is him in his adorable chibi form following her.
No, why? Oh, that's.
It's just his Yakuza face on a chibi body.
That's-
But
Oh,
yeah,
that's-
her mom was a
So
magical
here-
girl.
I have some magical items for you. Here, have this staff. What does it do? You beat things with it. She starts clubbing people to death. with
That's
her
why the
magical
staff is covered in blood in that picture.
Oh my.
And here, have this magical gun that never runs out of bullets.
So like, here, like, what? I'm a magical girl. Aren't I supposed to have any kind of magical weapons? Here, throw these. Pull out your hairpins and throw them. Oh, what's it going to do? Is it going to cause some kind of a magical kaboom?
Hairpin grenades.
Hairpin grenades. Don't you have anything else? I've got this magical gun that never runs out of ammunition. As he pulls out like a Glock.
There's nothing special looking. It's just a Glock.
Oh my gosh.
But it'll never run out of bullets,
What is
apparently.
Okay, this one.
Magical girl.
This one just jumped the line. All right.
Mhm.
Holy cow.
It's 12 episodes. It's just.
And we're kind of
funny.
back to what I was going to say about Bowsette. I've got this image in my head of the voice not changing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So even though Bowsette is this gorgeous redhead, I've still got this image in my head of. Yes, welcome.
So, one of the great running gags in Magical Girl Ore is that when she's running to school late, rather than having the piece of toast,
Yeah.
her mother actually gives her a portable meal to eat. Here she is eating
Oh, no.
hot pot on the way to school,
Oh,
which is a meal you should not eat while
No,
running.
it isn't.
And these pictures are of her.
Oh, that's
This
funny.
is her mom when she was in middle school, when she first started being a magical girl. But
Wow.
here she is eating a cake for breakfast.
Oh my
So...
gosh.
Oh my goodness.
Yep, Magical Girl Ore was fantastic. I think it was just kind of perfect at 12 episodes. I don't know if I could have handled any more than that. But yeah, I highly recommend Magical Girl Ore. 2 thumbs up from me.
Yes, same here. Now,
Oh.
the contender of one of the best shows we watched this entire season is next.
Yeah, episode 7, Megalobox.
Such a good show.
Have you seen this one, Matt?
I think I watched one episode.
So this show is 110% a love letter to classic anime,
To 90s anime.
to 90s anime.
Yeah, I saw the first episode. I remember I liked it, but
I mean, it was just so fantastic. It was so amazing because you have this main character who's driven to be the best boxer there is, but he also has a villainous counterpoint who's also just as driven, but he's not a bad guy. And they're both... You're watching a clash between these two titans trying to fight against each other, and you're not... You sympathize with the main character because you spend so much time with him, but his rival isn't a bad person.
You don't really know who you want to win.
Well, and like
you're not sure who's going to win.
Well, every episode ends with a title card that reads "Not dead yet." You're expecting.
Let's not spoil the ending for anybody, but you're like, it's the show's just incredible. The artwork, the music, the characters, the story.
I remember the music. The music was really good.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons it's a throwback, because the music is very, very much like Samurai Champloo. But one of the things they did was they drew it with modern techniques, but they then compressed it and decompressed it to give it more of an older show feel, and it worked beautifully. It's so good. There's not a single character in the show that I think, well, there are bad people. I don't want to say there's no bad people. I mean, there's the gangsters they run into.
There's the mafia.
The people that the old man owes the money to.
Yeah. It's just the arch rival isn't a villain.
Yeah, no, the arch rival isn't a villain. And there's this amazing scene where the arch rival, Yuri, he is boxing with his amazing, he's got this amazing machine that, it kind of puts...
It's like a 360... It's a
robot
arms with all these punching arms that come at you that you're defending against and punching the circles on it. But it also has octopus reach around.
It can reach around and stuff like that. So it's
behind you.
Yuri's just punching this thing, and he pretty much matches his best score, and he gets his towel and puts it on his head, and he's about to walk off when he just gets a flashback of Joe challenging him when they met in the rain, and he just goes, takes off the towel, gets back into the machine, and tries to beat his best.
It's just such a good show.
It's real good.
That one's still on the queue. I know I need to watch more. Still, it's on my...
It was absolutely fantastic. I loved every episode.
From a silly comedy to a show where I just, where once it was done, I felt like I had my fill of it. Megalobox, I never felt like I was done with it. I'm glad that it ended. I'm glad that it ended well with a real strong ending.
Yes,
because
it had a complete arc.
It had a complete arc, as opposed to a lot of other shows where they
So again, it goes back to the Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo.
Yes.
It's those games where they follow through with their complete arc and they give it a good ending.
Yes.
They give it the right ending.
Yeah, they actually end it.
It's fantastic.
As opposed to trying to sell magical girl figurines.
Right.
So, which anime is a business. That's just how they do it.
And you got to finance the studio somehow.
Okay, I guess that's it for episode 7, Megalobox. Unless we wanted to say anything else, I guess we've gushed enough about the show. So next up, episode 8, which is you.
All right, for episode 8, I chose Erased, with the Japanese title Boku Dake ga Inai Machi.
Boku Dake ga Inai Machi, which translates into the town where only I don't exist.
So this show was an interesting piece of work because it featured a main character who time traveled. His consciousness time traveled to his 11-year-old self, back and forth as he's investigating these child abductions and murders of apparently 3 of his classmates. So three children from his school in the same grade as him went missing that year.
I think...
Or one of them was from a neighboring school, but 2 of them were from his school.
2 of them were from his school. They all went missing that year. Yeah.
And so he's... and so the story is about him going back and forth, and it's a very gripping... I watched the whole thing. And it's
I ended up watching it as well. I got to, it's hard. It's a difficult show to watch just because you see these kids going through hell.
It's true.
And you see this.
So not a lot of laughs.
No, this is not a comedy.
There's some fun parts to it to kind of alleviate the tension, and there's some happy parts as well. But the girl he's trying to save, his primary target that he's trying to save, she's abused by her mother and her mother's boyfriend, And it's just really, really rough to see.
Yeah.
And she's the first victim. She's the first one that gets killed by this serial killer. So he thinks that if he can save her, he can go ahead and, save everybody else.
Right.
But it takes him a long time to figure out how to save just her. And it's really rough seeing him go through it.
Because it was an unsolved case in his modern time, and he's 11 years old. He has no resources to try to save her beyond trying to become friends with her and keeping her away from wherever she was when she was abducted. That's the best, and so that was the best options he had. But it's a short series. It's only 12, 13 episodes.
That's intense.
But it had the same feel in my mind as Broadchurch, if you've ever seen that. It was a David Tennant, British.
I've never seen Broadchurch.
Broadchurch was interesting because it was a cop procedural drama, but the entire season was one investigation.
Oh, okay.
And so it was investigating the murder of a young boy whose body was left on a beach near this small town. And, a lot of the actors who were in it also happened to do episodes of Doctor Who. But it was very deep and oppressive. And if you're a fan of Doctor Who, this is a complete tonal shift from what Doctor Who is. But, Broadchurch was a pretty big David Tennant title. And apparently one of the Jodie Whittaker was in Broadchurch, and now she's the new Doctor. So the two of them have worked together.
Good deal. I will say that after I finished watching the show, I looked up some stuff to see how it differed from the manga, and it follows the manga pretty well until the end. I won't say what happens, but we meet the young girl who is his friend at the pizza place in the first 3 episodes.
Yes.
In the manga, near the ending, she's there a lot more. Like, there's a scene in the hospital where somebody moves somebody away, a patient away with a wheelchair. That's her volunteering at the hospital.
Oh.
She is in it a lot more. And a lot of people complained about the ending, thinking that, you know what, spoiler alert for the last episode of this show. He ends up going to the to under the bridge.
Right.
And where he and the girl, this young girl,
would spend time together.
Would spend time together.
But the ending of the show,
it was kind of there away from everywhere else.
Yes, but now the actual scene in the end of this show, he's not yet the age that he was when he first met her.
No, he's older. No. He's older because she's in college at that point.
I could have sworn the way that it ended was that he was not yet the age that he was when the series started.
It takes place a few years. The ending takes place a few years after the ending. After the time. Sorry, the ending takes place a few years afterwards.
Okay.
Because she's in college at that point.
Is she?
She said she's there for college.
Okay.
So actually, I think she's been in college for a couple of years at that point. I could be wrong, but so okay. I remember correctly. She's 21 at the ending rather than 16.
Okay.
So, but a lot of people were very upset thinking, he's an old man with a young girl. If you read the manga, she's a lot more prevalent in it. People say it felt like the show forced them together, whereas the manga, it's much more natural, is what I'm saying. Okay. That's enough of that show. Seriously, watch it, though. It's incredible.
Yes, it is.
And I guess that's it. It's now time for episode 9.
Yeah, so what did we watch for episode 9?
Legend of the Galactic Heroes, Die Neue Thesis, which translates into The New Thesis.
The New Thesis.
Which is a remake of the original Legend of the Galactic Heroes. I watched about 3 more episodes. I really loved what I saw. I thought it was incredible, just the political play and the power struggles and stuff like that. It's
really awesome.
Really cool. I just don't have time for a political military thriller.
Right.
I haven't watched anymore.
I'm more than willing to put this... I haven't watched more than the first 3 episodes. I watched half of episode 4, but yeah, a lot of it was... I mean, part of me is a little disinterested because I'm much more intrigued by our blonde protagonist than our brunette protagonist. Like the guy trying to change the empire from the inside. Well, to me is more interesting than...
They get back to it.
I know, but they go back to it every other episode.
But they also... like they actually really delve into the brunette protagonist's background quite a bit.
They do.
Yes.
So he becomes a lot more fascinating once we really get into his backstory.
Okay.
So I really, really liked it. I just haven't had the time for a political thriller.
Yeah,
Not-
maybe.
not even really a thriller. Just you
Well,
know.
maybe we should finish Psychopaths and then put that on our
Okay.
anime-
There you go.
on
Okay.
our, on our list.
All right.
I'd watch that one again.
Good
Okay.
deal. All right. Next up is episode 10.
Assassination Classroom.
Did you watch any more?
What?
I didn't watch any more of Assassination
Have you
Classroom.
not seen Assassination Classroom?
No.
Have you heard of it?
Now.
Okay.
Okay.
So Assassination Classroom, you've probably seen pictures of him.
Oh,
It's
dude, yeah.
Octopus teacher.
Dude, it's a guy who's a squid.
Everybody at anything cosplays as this guy. He's a squid?
He's a space alien with tentacles. He's a squid. The fact that you haven't seen this is a surprise to me.
Okay.
The aliens on Sesame Street also meet this description. Now go on.
So he can go Mach 20 at will. He is basically bulletproof and immune to all kinds of poisons and different
Except
things.
for a certain
But there's
chemical
one chemical material that he's actually
extremely weak to.
extremely weak to, which they've made knives and BB guns out of that material.
Completely
And,
harmless to normal humans, but to him it's toxic and deadly.
and basically,
Oh, crap. It's going to be like cardboard or something.
No, it's
there's some plastic.
it's some special plastic. I mean, they make rubber knives out of it and like little BBs and stuff.
The spork gag. Okay, yeah. There's just a lot of things that I've seen at conventions making sense now.
Mhm.
That's all.
and well, he decided he blew up the moon, and he's going to
When I
blow
saw
up
this guy at the FRANXX,
Yeah.
a little girl was chasing him around with a spork. Okay, there's a lot that makes sense in my mind now.
All right.
So,
Okay, so he's blown up the moon. He's going to destroy the Earth at the end of the school year. But before that, he also wants to teach a class. And he's teaching...
Okay.
And the class he wants to teach is like class 5E.
They are class E. They are it's an elite school. It's the school of the elite. And the way that they keep students motivated is by saying if you fail, you will go to class E, which is they call class end, which is in its own campus on a different part like far away from the school. You have to climb up a mountain to get to it. These are where they put the losers and the rejects, the people who couldn't keep up with their elite status.
Okay.
And he wants to teach this class. And
he's actually a pretty cool teacher, and he's really good at
Like
what he
in
does.
like to the Outer Darkness people, or like the actual 5E people, like the actual.
The actual the class E people that he's
Okay.
he's a good
the
teacher.
people who could not keep up with everybody else.
he's
either
their
from
teacher.
burnout
So the
or
outcasts.
Yes.
then,
yeah,
okay.
He's the teacher of the outcast
Okay,
class.
Gotcha.
Which is just on its own, just decrepit high school grounds. And the class...
Well, holy cow! The
and-
premise for this writes itself.
And the
Of
class...
course, I'm going to teach them assassination because that's what they're going to want to do.
And the class is under assignment to try to kill the teacher before the year's end because he will destroy the world.
And
so
if
the
they
government has provided them with the weapons
Oh,
necessary
okay.
to kill the teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And so every morning starts with stand, bow. And when they say bow is when they unload the fully automatic weapons against the teacher. But the
And-
teacher dodges every single bullet because he can move Mach 20.
Oh,
Mhm.
I see.
And in order to, like in episode 1, in order to show that, yes, he is weak to these, he picks up a student's gun. Someone says, oh, we probably hit him multiple times, but it's just he's immune to it. And he's like, no, actually, I'm not. He picks up one of the guns and shoots off a tentacle with it.
And it just blows off and it's really nasty. And it's,
Mm-hmm.
But it's, and then it grows back.
Now,
Well, I believe Ronald Swanson observed that in order to maintain discipline in the ranks, you have to show your colleagues that you can withstand an extreme amount of pain.
Yes, he said that right after he
Pulled out his own tooth.
He's like, I got a tooth that hurts, so just give me a second. Pulls out a Leatherman, grabs a tooth, and pulls it out in the
it's
middle
a
of a
false
meeting.
tooth.
It's a false tooth
Yeah.
that the dentist pulled out earlier that day. Like, it never hurts to demonstrate to your colleagues that you can tolerate an extreme amount of pain.
And he's totally fine, and we're just like, oh!
Besides, watching Tommy faint is one of the highlights of this job.
Anyways, have you watched
Last
any more
one was
Assassination
Assassination
Classroom?
Classroom.
I have not. I
Okay.
have not picked it up.
I removed it from my queue simply because I've read all the manga.
Okay.
I've read the entire thing, so I didn't really feel the need to spend time watching it, especially when I already have so many other shows and things
Yeah,
I need to watch.
we've loaded up our schedule with
and
a
I
lot
keep
of things.
discovering more and more manga to read, like Miss Komi is bad at communication, and Don't Bully Me, Nagatoro-san, and just other delightful manga. Like I just discovered another one actually. I forget what the title is, but it's the main character is a teenage ninja girl, and she's fallen in love with a boy. But every time she tries to confess to him, her ninja survival instincts kick in, and she ends up hiding as soon as he turns around.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah, and it's really charming.
Okay.
Another really charming one is Way of the House Husband. A former Yakuza hitman has fallen in love and married this woman, but he's kept his Yakuza styles about him. And I'll show you guys some artwork of it later on when we're done recording, because I don't want to take up too much time talking about manga and stuff. But it's he goes to
it's like the spy next door, only actually funny.
He goes to the local health center with some local housewives, because the people in his area love him and know that he's a great guy. He just looks scary. But he does these exercises, and like his smiles, the way they draw him, he always has his yellow shades on, and like his face is always kind of tilted down and it's in shadows and stuff. And as he's doing jazzercise, he's got these horrifying looking Yakuza smiles. And everyone's just like, he's so terrified, what is going on? But he's loving it. He's loving what's going on. Anyway, I can go ahead and show you guys some artwork later, because we haven't even covered half of our log yet. Next up.
Well, that's half. We're at 11.
No. We have 24 episodes.
Oh, okay.
So, episode 11 is Hinamatsuri.
Hinamatsuri.
Which is hysterical. Did you ever watch Hinamatsuri? Did you listen to the episode?
I listened to the episode. I haven't gotten around to it yet.
Hinamatsuri is gold, and it just gets better.
Which one's this one?
It's the one with the little girl who appears inside of the Yakuza's apartment, and she's a super powerful psychic.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That one.
Yeah. Psychics seem to be a thing recently in anime. But anyway, they eventually evolve, and they become a really, really, like, real cute family. But, like, the blonde girl who also comes up to the past to get Hina, she ends up in even worse situation than Hina. She can't go back to the future because her device got wet. And so she...
she starts living on the streets with bums.
So she starts living on the streets with bums, and then eventually the bums find her a place to live, and she ends up being... She starts off as this horrible, horrible brat. Like, you can't stand her. But she ends up becoming this super sweet girl because she knows what a hard life is. And so she ends up living with this couple that own a local restaurant, and she helps them out and stuff.
I know that happens because of the opening credits. I never got that far in the series.
But anyway...
I got stuck on a part where I just... that I can only handle so much awkward humor. And I got stuck on a part, and this is what happens. Is, spoiler alert, sometime episode, I think, 6 or 7. The blonde that we're talking about wants a video game.
Oh,
and to buy a video game, it costs about $30 worth. And in order to make enough money, she needs to sell a lot of things. So what's something that she can sell for a lot of money?
Suspension of reality.
A TV. So she needs to find a TV that she can sell on the black market to make enough money to buy a video game.
She gets super excited.
And
she finds this pile of TVs.
She finds a pile of these defunct
tube
TVs that she won't get a dime for. They need, because the flat screen TVs are the big new thing, but
she doesn't know that.
So she doesn't know that. But she talks to her friend Hina and says that she needs a TV. She doesn't explain why she needs the TV. She just says that she needs the TV. And so Hina goes to the guy she's been living with, the Yakuza boss, enforcer.
The enforcer.
The Yakuza enforcer, and asks him for money to buy a TV.
Well, she says, we need a TV. He's like, oh, okay, well,
and he pulls out a wallet and starts just handing her Tens of thousands of yen.
Pretty much $1,000 worth of yen. To say, is this enough for you?
Because she's going to buy, and I couldn't watch more after that because I know that they're going to buy a $1,000 TV to sell it on the black market so she can afford a $30 video game.
Yep.
And I couldn't watch this happen. That's where I'm stuck. That's where I'm stuck. I stopped and I couldn't watch more and I couldn't get it and I didn't start it back up again. He pulled out the wallet and I saw the rest of it coming and I'm like, no, this is like those episodes of MASH I can't watch either, where everybody's making deals with each other and then it all collapses at the end.
Mm-hmm. No, but anyway, later on, the Yakuza enforcer comes across the blonde, and she's just become this super sweet girl, and like they ask her to take care of her for it. Like the couple are going on a vacation because they haven't gone in a while, and so they ask him to take care of her for a little bit, or they're going to visit family or something. And so he says, yeah, sure. I mean, Hina's going to be away with on a trip with school, so she can definitely come live here. And he's so used to the slob, horrible Hina that just leaves stuff out and has him clean up everything. And this girl she cleans up after herself. She does her own laundry. She's super nice, wants to make sure everything's good. I think she even starts massaging his feet. And then when she's about to leave because they're coming home, he says, "Can you please trade places with Hina?"
Overboard.
You're worth. Yes. Yes.
The original.
Overboard. Yes.
Overboard, yep.
Not the remake.
It's fine.
Which
Yes,
is
the original.
Distinction I need to make.
Who was in the
Apparently.
remake?
Doesn't matter.
Some,
It's a really new remake. It came out within the last year.
some
or so.
dude,
Oh,
some,
that's
some
right.
And they
dude, some
gender swapped
creature.
it.
Weird. Okay. Yeah, no, they didn't
But
need
come
to.
on, you didn't need to. You got Goldie Hawn and you got
Doctor, my
the
husband's having a nervous...
amazing.
husband? No, Doctor, my husband's having a nervous breakdown again. He thinks he's God.
Oh, he's great. I am a god at sea.
And when I'm at sea, I am God. Doctor, my husband's having a nervous breakdown again. He thinks he's God.
And the doctor just believes
believes it and goes over.
It's just,
Beautiful thing.
That's
Episode 12.
Okay, yeah, Hinamatsuri, I loved it. I will say this, though. The opening where you saw the redhead doing the amazing martial arts stuff,
yes.
she is the girl that gets sent back in time to replace the ball so the blonde can leave as well.
Oh.
She ends up
I haven't seen her again yet.
You haven't, but she ends up the calculations for her arrival are so bad. She ends up landing in the ocean, and when she comes out and landing on a beach, both balls go out into the ocean, and so she's stuck on this deserted island by herself.
She's stuck on a deserted island by herself in a can, and both of the balls she brought with her.
No. Well, the can, like a coconut falls down and hits the back of
thank goodness
of the can that she's on, so she's out. But her ball and the ball she brought as a replacement both wash out to sea. So she's stuck on a deserted island by herself for quite some time, going crazy because she's created a Hina and a blonde girl doll and is pretending that is them.
There was an episode of Voltron where that happened.
But she
Pidge
eventually she leaves, and then the bit at the beginning where she's this amazing martial artist taking out guys.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the last episode.
Yeah. Okay.
That's where it ends. Anyway, someone goes on a journey because of Hina. He meets this girl, says, "You got powers like my friend Hina." And she's like, "What?" And then so she tries to leave this martial arts cult that's been using her powers to make them get students.
Okay.
Wow, we're loud.
No, we're fine. We're fine.
Okay. Hinamatsuri, fantastic. Watch it. I love it. All right, episode 12.
How to Keep a Mummy. Okay, so I adore this show.
I adored it too.
It's adorable. I watched a couple more episodes, but I ended up stopping before getting too much further into it because I wanted to watch it with my kids, and I just haven't had the chance.
Okay, I finished it just because it's a simple, fun show.
It is,
and I had it on in the background while I was working on other things. And they keep introducing more adorable little creatures and stuff.
Yeah,
and
the opening credits seems to be loaded with those creatures and stuff.
All the main kids end up with one of those creatures.
Yep.
As a monster lover, this was a personal favorite of mine.
Yeah, it's just
this was one of those. The one I saw you guys do that, and you told me about it. I kind of binge watched.
Have you seen Actually I Am?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, that's a great
Finish
one.
that one too. You guys
Yep,
showed me
actually,
that one. I'm
actually,
like,
I am. It's
"Go."
phenomenal.
So I'm watching Actually I Am with my son for a little bit, and because it's actually age appropriate for children until you get to one episode, the swimsuit episode.
Oh,
The competition.
I don't remember that.
Okay,
They telegraph them though.
They telegraph them, but
The second you see Hot Spring or swimsuit or anything like that,
they
title,
they
man.
decided that they're going to have a competition over who's the sexiest, and he gets to decide who it is, and they're determining based on blood loss who the sexiest person is. And our main girl, for the swimsuit competition, wears a head to toe bodysuit that is not flattering at all. It's a 1920s swimsuit.
She's a vampire. She can't be out in the sun.
With flip flops, a rubber duck,
Yes, I know. I remember this. It was great.
and a snorkel.
Yes.
Like the swimsuit competition, and she is absolutely prepared to actually go swimming instead of what a swimsuit competition is supposed to
It's
be.
supposed to be.
She's wonderful.
Yes, it was great.
And then my wife walked in
Wait
a second later.
Oh gosh. Wait.
When the string bikini clad succubus
Oh,
was on
jeez.
screen. It's like, what are you showing my son?
Wait.
I had a conversation with her about that.
You mean wait, the succubus? You mean
the
principal?
judge? No, the principal was the
Or the werewolf?
I think it was the werewolf.
No, it's the werewolf.
Yeah, it's the werewolf.
It was the werewolf.
Yeah, okay. So
It's the werewolf.
the succubus is the principal. She's the lowly.
Yeah, the lowly who. Yeah, no, it's the werewolf who the busty werewolf in the string
And the
bikini.
teacher who's the best teacher out of them all because she's strong enough to keep a succubus in control.
Yeah, the granddaughter of the
The
succubus.
granddaughter of the succubus.
I love it.
All right. Yeah. No. Yeah. Anyways, we were talking about how to keep a mummy. Not actually, I am. Anyway, we don't get distracted here. People tune into us because they enjoy us staying on topic all the time.
Stay on target. Stay on
We are
target.
not talking about Star Wars. All right. Okay. Anything else about how to keep a mummy? I mean, it's an adorable, lighthearted, fun show.
Just no more than what we've already said. So go back to episode 12 and take a listen to what we talked about it before.
And for the Pokemon lovers, because it's a cute monster show.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and there's no magical cockfights in it, so
Yeah,
it's even better.
It's actually just yes.
All right.
Still, that mummy acting as a sweat rag
Gosh,
was the most adorable thing.
It was really, really cute. All right, next up,
Feels.
episode 13,
No feels, man.
The Daily Lives of High School Boys. Which
This one was good.
I thought it was great.
Oh, it was hilarious.
I watched the entire thing.
Yes, we did. We made an anime night.
That's
out of
right,
it.
we watched an anime night, didn't we? And I remember, again, this is another one where I looked up the differences, after we watched it, looked up the differences between the manga and the anime. And the anime makes it seem like it's kind of weird. Like, the anime, you start off with the main character, but he gets pushed aside and is almost never in it, like after episode 4 or so.
After episode 4, he starts reading manga on the floor of his bedroom. And then we cut to other
And
people
almost
doing
never
things. And
leaves.
then every once in a while we cut back to him and he's still sitting there reading manga.
Yeah.
Wondering why life is passing him by.
Yeah, but the boy with glasses, the manga makes it feel like he ends up with the creepy girl who was writing the book.
The boy with glasses?
Yeah, the
And
boy
it
with
put-
glasses. No. Sorry, I'm trying to remember how it ended up in the manga
Because it was the boy with the glasses that was on the hill with the creepy girl with the book.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember if it felt like they ended up together in the anime.
I could see. I think maybe that they started. They.
One of the differences is that it's been forever since we watched it and forever since I read the article,
Okay.
but
I felt that the ending did come a little quick.
okay.
The ending did feel a little forced. Everything kind of fell into place a little bit too.
It's probably just because they just had to finish the show, but the manga is the exact opposite. I can't remember that relationship is the exact opposite, where apparently he goes to the hill and never sees her again, type thing. So they don't end up together in the manga, but anyway. Anyway, it's a very silly show.
Yeah.
It's multiple adventures within each episode. It really just kind of ended up being exactly what we expected it to be.
Yep.
So, all right, episode 14.
Episode 14. It's the first time we branched away from Crunchyroll and started going into the Amazon Prime's selection.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to Sword Oratoria. Is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon on the side? So it's a side story to Machi. Is that
To Machi.
Machi.
Is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon?
Yeah.
Or Dungeon Town, Machi.
Machi. So it's a side story to Machi, featuring a lot of the same characters, but it's mostly featuring the guild that he's aspiring to be like.
Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't actually watch any more after the first 3 episodes. I thought it was.
Was it an actual? Is it an actual series?
It is a series. It's a 12-episode series.
Okay.
It's available on Amazon Prime.
With the girl that he's completely in love with, the blonde, it's her guild that he wants, the Loki's guild.
That's right.
And it felt like there was could be some interesting political things going on in the background and stuff like that. But again, after we watched, I was just like, I just want to watch more Machi, you know?
Yeah.
I don't much care about these characters.
No, yeah.
So,
the first 3 episodes did not do a great job of selling the characters beyond them being fan service material.
As opposed to Sword Art Online Gungrave Online, they did a fantastic job of
making a sympathetic character,
making interesting characters that made sympathetic characters that exist parallel to the already existing characters.
Yep. And I've watched a few episodes of that, but that's one of the things I wanted to watch with my children. My oldest, because she's a big fan of Sword Art Online, and it's a great little spin-off series.
I finished it, so I watched the entire thing. It's really good. Really
I'm a couple episodes in.
Okay. No new thoughts on that because neither of us watched more than the first 3 episodes.
Okay.
All right, episode 15. This is another remake. Sorry, what did you want to say?
Just that there's a marching order gag that's going to come up in my podcast too, thanks to the Machi offshoot.
Oh, jeez. Anyway.
Now, is that one that you told me about how the last person in the marching order gets hit by the attack that nobody sees coming because of how the marching order is set up?
Right. Oh, yeah, everyone gets out of the way except for the last person.
Yes, Loki seems to... Yeah, that's the joke.
No, Anyway. So, episode 15, Star Blazers, Space Battleship Yamato, $21.99. This is one I really want to watch, but just have not sat down to watch it.
Right. This is just another one of those shows we just can't have on the side. It's
Saw the episodes that you guys talked about. I got into it a little bit, but I haven't seen more than the first 2 episodes, I think.
Okay.
No,
I like it, but again,
it's a remake. It's a remake of a classic. Space Battleship Yamato $21.99 is a hugely influential anime.
Oh yes.
So I really want to watch more of it, but I just haven't had the chance. All right. And I think you're the same. You just haven't had a chance to watch more.
I haven't watched much more than the first 3. I haven't watched any more than the first 3 episodes.
So again, great show, Space Odyssey type.
Okay, so the next show,
episode 16.
Episode 16. Yeah. I know you finished this show.
I watched all of it.
Darling in the Franxx.
Mm-hmm.
Now I've only watched the first. I think I've watched a little bit past the first 3 episodes. Maybe episode 4, maybe episode 5. I can't remember exactly how far I've gotten into it. But it's just one of those shows that I haven't been able to. I was interested in watching more of it, and then we started watching some of the episodes we're about to talk about, and those are the ones that I really delved into. The ones that I really.
So after episode 16, you got into the ones after that.
After episode 16 is where I really started delving into other shows.
Darling in the Franxx is on my queue, but I haven't seen it yet either. It looks really good though.
Darling in the Franxx, there's a huge push online where people say that it ended at a certain point and nothing else happened after that. I completely disagree with those people. I'm just going to go ahead and say here that I loved it. I loved the show. I thought it was fantastic. Even the crazy part at the end where it switched. Mostly because... being an anime fan in like the 80s and 90s, name me a mecha that's not Gundam that doesn't have a crazy twist that just throws things. Yeah,
they all had
that, and this is just a throwback to the classic mecha anime.
Yeah, Evangelion. Well, that's because they ran out of a budget, but that's crazy twist. Big O had a huge crazy twist at the end.
Big crazy, and Escaflowne had a.
Escaflowne went off the rails. It's with mecha anime in the 90s, that just is how it was.
So when
people were complaining about how it went off the rails in like the last 4 or 5 episodes, I'm just like, what are you guys talking about? This is just classic mecha.
It's a classic mecha anime.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing what that's like.
And I will just say, because I knew a twist was coming, I paid attention to the show.
Oh, yeah.
And I found hints and drops of things that were being like hinted throughout. Things that just didn't add up, things that just felt off. And so when the shift came, I was just like, okay, yeah, I wasn't expecting that shift, but at the same time, I wasn't not expecting it. So I think people are just blowing it out of proportion. They're very upset about it. And they're upset. That's their right to be upset. But I'm going to go ahead and say the show's fantastic. And just like with the earlier show we talked about, Megalobox, this was a throwback to classic mecha anime. And they did a great job with it. Okay. So I loved it. I don't think there needs to be more because it ended really, really well. So it had a very much 90s, 80s, 90s anime ending as well, which I'm going to say I honestly prefer, because as much as I love how much anime we're getting, so much of it is made where they don't end it, you know?
Right.
They leave it open-ended. And that's incredibly frustrating to me, because if I really like it, I want more. Like, Devil's a part-timer. How many times have I brought that up? I mean,
yes,
I would love a season 2 of that show.
For there to be more, yes.
But, and it ends, like, the ending's fine, but there's just so much left undone.
Right.
In The Devil's a Part-Timer.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I'd rather have a show that ends than another one that just that just leaves it open and doesn't go anywhere.
Okay.
So, and in the 90s, anime was planned to be 24, 26 episodes and then end.
Right.
So
very few series went beyond that, and you had a concise story.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure One Piece, well, Dragon Ball obviously was one of the ones that kind of had more, and there's a lot of other shonen ones that keep going, like Detective Conan.
Right.
But those were the exception to the rule, whereas these days it seems to be everyone's trying to do that.
Dragon Ball was a big, the big thing there was they were watching it steadily in Japan before it came over here.
Oh yeah, I'm just talking about how it ran for years in Japan, as opposed to most shows that had 24, 26 episodes.
Yeah, it was a concise, complete story. You have your Cowboy Bebop and Trigun and Outlaw Star, all these concise.
And Darling in the Franxx was a throwback to those concise, full stories. People didn't like how it ended, but it ended, you know. Yeah. And I'm happy that it had an ending. Okay, next up, episode 17.
Cromartie High School.
Cromartie High School. We still haven't finished this, but we've been watching this for anime night, and oh my gosh, this show!
And I'm torn because Matt here is who introduced me to the show.
Oh God!
And when we watched it, we watched the dubbed version. I'm usually against dub, but this show was actually really fun.
Cromartie High School isn't bad. It's actually really good.
Okay.
And yes, we actually,
which is a very rare thing.
I didn't realize
up front.
I didn't realize. Because it had been so long since I'd seen it last that I had forgotten that we had watched it dubbed. And so sometimes I'll just remember a line from the tone of voice that they say and the subtitles, and then I'll just say, okay, and that's how they said it. And so I in my mind it says, oh, I always read it dubbed, or I always read it subtitled. And so in my mind I thought the subtitle read, "I will gut you like a fish," but no, that's not what the subtitle read. And then I found out that Crunchyroll had both the sub and dub available.
Yeah,
and
VRV has Verve or whatever, has the English dub.
Yeah, and so we went over to that and watched that same clip in English.
I will gut you like a fish.
I will gut you like a fish.
Oh man, I wanted to see a throwdown.
He wants they want to have they're in this guy's.
You are not fighting in my boat.
You're not fighting in my houseboat.
My house.
You're not fighting in my houseboat. Why are we at my place again? Why are we at my place again?
I want to see a throwdown. I will gut you like a fish.
I want to see a throwdown. I will gut you like a fish.
Oh.
That show, we haven't finished it yet, but
no, we need to put that back on the list.
It's just a delight. It's just delightful chaos. It is complete and total chaos. My favorite running gag. I was going to say ongoing joke. I'm like, the running gag is nobody recognizes Mechazawa as a robot. Except for one person. Or I think two people recognize him as a robot.
Am I the only one seeing this? Well, if you're not, we need to get our asses to LensCrafters now.
Yeah.
There's something about you I need to get off my chest. You're missing a button.
Really?
You're missing a button.
Oh, how embarrassing. Dude, do you not see this?
Let's not spike the mic.
Oh, it's only so low we can turn it.
Well, and then like I've seen a whole lot of like I'm trying to remember what it was, but there was art that involved Mechazawa in it, and it had nothing to do with this show. But because it had Mechazawa in it, people were doing that joke in the comments.
Yes.
Nobody recognized him as a robot at all. Everyone in the comments was just going with it. And I'm like, now that I know this show, I can play along. But I'm a lurker. I just read things. I never comment. So yeah, my favorite gag is Mechazawa, and nobody recognizes him as a robot. He's just Mechazawa. I've got something I need to ask. I need to tell you.
Yes?
Your button is undone.
Oh, how embarrassing. Robot!
You're Mechazawa. You're from my class from last year. We went to this high school together.
Or
Is that
Or
true?
he calls him Roly Poly, I think.
Roly poly.
Roly poly.
We went to grade school together.
Roly poly instead of robot. Yeah. Anyway, Cromartie High School, awesome. Episode 18, what was it?
Episode 18, we watched Sound Euphonium. Now, this is a show that I actually finished both seasons of.
Oh, so did I.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of passion, a lot of drama.
Mm-hmm.
But no, this was a really good show.
It was Kyoto animation at, I don't want to say their peak, but in their form. It was definitely in form for them. They did a great job with it. It's just a bunch of high school students trying to get to nationals for playing band, and people.
And the biggest trial is when you're in an ensemble.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's got to pull their weight,
Mm-hmm.
and if there's anybody disinterested in pulling their weight, it's going to bring the whole down.
Mm-hmm.
And so it becomes more of a question on what the interpersonal relationships between everybody,
Mm-hmm.
how things are playing out,
Mm-hmm.
the way things are going.
I think it's based off of a light novel series rather than a manga.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I've read about it, the main girl and the boy that I don't want to say hates, because it's obviously she likes him, but she's still like
The childhood friend.
The childhood friend. Apparently, they end up together in the light novels, dating and stuff, the next year of school.
Okay.
And I don't know if they're. I think they are doing a movie for Sound Euphonium. I don't know. I think it's continuing. I'll have to recheck it.
Okay.
But
Sound Euphonium was great.
It's real good. It's real good. But what's the trumpet girl? I think she goes to America in her senior year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but that's a common thing that happens in a lot of slice of life animes,
Mm-hmm.
where one of the main characters ends up going abroad for a year.
Right.
So, and that kind of throws off that throws up the formula and stuff, and gives them different things that they can work with for a while.
It's a popular thing also that happens in romance movies.
Yeah.
Or chick flicks.
Yeah. That's true. All right. Anything else we want to say about Sound Euphonium?
That's great.
It's a great show. It's got a good arc, solid ending.
Slice of life, right?
Slice of life. Mm-hmm.
It's something I didn't notice when we were recording about it, but it turns out that they had these character designs that I didn't notice until like the last episode. Is that the first years were one color of sash, the second years were a different color, and the third years were another.
Mm-hmm.
And so and that's how they're telling them all apart. So there's another element to their character design.
And I'm pretty sure what's going to happen, or what happens, is that in second year, like, they just keep their colors, and then they just rotate the colors for each class, rather than saying from first year to second year you change your color. I think that's what they do. That's the color assigned to your class type thing.
Okay.
Anyway, that's it for episode 18. Now episode 19, Violet Evergarden.
Now this is another one that I finished.
I watched all of this.
So did I.
It's
wow.
okay.
Feels
So the people
Oh,
The people
man.
who I listened to that said that this show, that the artwork that they did on this show was a waste based on the content, they can go to hell. Because this
beautifully
was
drawn. What did-
fantastic.
They're saying that the artwork was wasted, that the artwork was incredible, but the story was crap, is what they were saying. Those people are idiots.
This story was magnificent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, those guys are dumb too.
And one of our first
Both of them
YouTube
were
commenters
phenomenal.
actually was bringing this up, and we had a conversation with her
Yeah, we had a
about
conversation with her.
how this was a light novel that she absolutely adored, and that the anime did a wonderful job.
I want it to be translated into English so I can buy it. Like, I know fans have translated it.
Mhm.
I prefer just to own a copy of it.
Uh-huh.
So I'm waiting for it to be translated. But yeah, it's so good. It's heartbreaking. It's beautiful. There is an episode where, and this is spoiler for a later episode if you guys just want to go ahead and if you guys don't want to listen to this part. But the episode where Violet goes to the house and she's working with the mother, and the little girl has no idea what the little mother's doing. And she's like, "What? Your mother is sick. Shouldn't she spend time with me?" She's like, "This is very important. This is something your mother needs to do." And the entire time you're just thinking, it's got to be something to do with business, her will, something,
Yeah, it's something to do with taking care of her daughter. After the fact,
she's
and
gone.
it's probably
Mm-hmm.
and you're thinking that it's that she's reaching out to various people on estates to make sure that she's financially cared for, that she'll be taken care of.
Yep, and
but then you find out,
and then after the mom passes away, and it's the girl's first birthday without her mom, a letter arrives. And as soon as she opened the letter, and I'm going to tear it again because it's so beautiful.
Yeah, I bawled.
Yeah.
I bawled like a child watching this episode.
And she read the letter from her mom, and then year after year after year on her birthday, she got letters from her mom.
And apparently there are 50 years. 50 years of letters on back order to be mailed on her birthday.
And
that was a scene. That was.
Oh yeah, I'm wiping the tears from my eyes with my shirt.
It's just
incredibly
powerful.
Bawled. And then Violet, like when she gets back to her company, she just breaks down because she's like, I couldn't tell her. Like, I had to keep it a secret the entire time, and it was killing me to keep it a secret from her.
Yeah,
the little girl.
Yeah, Violet couldn't keep it in.
But just seeing Violet grow as a person, when she started off as this tool of killing, and seeing her blossom and mature into this beautiful, wonderful young woman.
The only other place we've seen that would be Assassin's Creed. I mean, it's just amazing.
This is how you tell us.
In which Assassin's Creed?
We'll pick one, but again, when you take a killer and you make them likable and you present this edge to them and you really dive into the character of who they are not there. Suddenly they're no longer just this tool to be used by the society that they're brought up in, but you actually find yourself caring about this lethal weapon.
But Assassin's Creed also did it the exact opposite with.
Yes, they did.
With I don't know if you've played Assassin's Creed Origins.
Not yet.
You start off as a magi it's your job to take care of people, and that's what they do with that's how they get it with the side quests in this one, because you're a magi and it's your job to help people. But by the end of it, you are so blackened by everything that happens, you throw away the magi title and become the first assassin.
Yes.
And but anyway, Origin is that we're not talking about video games today. We're talking about anime. But
now, Violet Evergarden is one of the best character arc stories written.
The light novel won awards for it.
I mean, because you have you have a strong female protagonist with flaws, and she goes through a character arc to overcome those flaws.
Mm-hmm.
And that is how you write a good, non-gender specific. That's how you write a good character.
Yeah,
is that you start off with a character with flaws, and you fix them, and you put them on a story that does.
There is a comic called Ant Comic. I think that's what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
But I learned about this because Brandon Sanderson tweeted it out. And it was...
Oh, yeah.
He was writing about... the comic was about making characters with depth. And it was like, you got to make sure your characters have flaws. Like this guy right here. He can't help... Every time he speaks, he can't help but vomit a little. And then goes on to like... And then here's Detective... Detective Mace Jones. Yes. His wife was murdered by by the mob. His flaw, he won't shut up about his dumb dead wife. It was a joke, but yeah. Yeah, no, interesting people have flaws. Interesting people have flaws. And,
Yes.
and good characters and stories have flaws. And
Right.
those stories are about overcoming or succumbing to those flaws.
Yeah,
So,
and one of the things I like to say when people say, okay, who would win in a fight, Malcolm Reynolds or Han Solo? Well, Han Solo would probably win in the fight. But that might make Malcolm Reynolds the more interesting character.
yeah.
Because they're...
I don't care who would win in a fight.
No, that's... Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
That's not the point.
Yeah, no. All right, so what else can we say about Violet Evergarden, though? I don't think there's much more to be said. It's a masterpiece, in my opinion.
It is.
Do what none of us did. Bring tissues when you watch it.
I had tissues. But that's also because I was, going through a cold at the time. Anyway, yeah.
So that'll clear out your sinuses.
Yeah. Anyway, it's on Netflix. I hope it gets a digital release at some point. It might not because Netflix owns the rights to it, and usually they don't release things digitally. Or not digital release, a physical release because I want to buy it. Yeah, no. Watch this show if you have not watched it yet. It's a masterpiece. It's incredible.
It is.
All right, episode 20.
Cells at work.
Do, 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 do.
Oh, the platelets.
I don't know.
What did I show you that you're like, why did you do this to me?
I downloaded it, but it doesn't work properly.
Okay. It's a game. Okay, so apparently it's a desktop feature that is a scalable platelet chan that reads Japanese out loud for you if you select.
It's not just reads Japanese; it reads anything that you give it.
Okay.
It's
That's right.
I don't know. It might just be in Japanese.
And you can pin it to the top of a window, so when you move it around, move the window
it's
around.
It's a text-to-voice program.
And then you can make various adjustments to how it behaves, and you can have a whole bunch of copies of them all with doing something slightly different.
Long story short, this show is incredible. It just keeps being fun and imaginative and scientifically accurate for the most part from everything I've read about scientists watching it. Even to the point to where I forget what it's called, but there's red cells that are there's actually red cells that are bad at directions. Like they're badly formed, so they don't travel as well as everything else. And they're shaped like kind of a sickle.
Okay.
She's got the ahego, or whatever that's called, ahoge, where she's got the cowlick.
Yeah.
So people are thinking maybe that's intended, because she's got that, sickle cowlick. And therefore she's one of those cells that's just really, really bad at traveling.
So I've gotten as far as, I think, episode 8, because episode 8 was the blood flow episode, where she's trying to force herself to go the correct way through the circulatory system.
Okay.
And it starts off with her getting lost, getting saved by
white blood cell,
and then determining that she's going to be a strong, independent red blood cell who doesn't need help from anybody.
And he ends up following her the entire time because he's worried about her.
Because it starts off with her going, I'm going to do this, and she starts running and goes right into a door, and there's no floor beyond that door, and there's a platelet chan rappelling, doing some drywall or something above the floor. It's like, oh, watch yourself, please. It's very dangerous around here.
It's very dangerous around here. Watch yourself, please.
And there she is. She's got the doorknob in both hands, and then the box of CO2 and the tray between her legs, just holding up over this bottomless pit leads to the abyss.
I seem to remember this happened to Spike Spiegel once as well.
It may have.
Wandered into a room, suddenly there's a pit there. Be careful, it's dangerous in here. Be careful, it's dangerous in here.
I'm pretty sure that's the episode where he had to replace the beta player.
Good cousin maintenance.
Yeah, my ship works better when I kick it. Look on that guy's face when Spike just starts like. So they get this tape, and it's a beta, which is older than VHS, around the same age as VHS, but older than DVD and Blu-ray and stuff like that.
The beta
and magnet tapes. So this a lot of times they would it'd have bad picture. But you could adjust knobs on the player itself to clear up the picture and make it look nice. I forget what the word for that was.
Scanning.
Oh yeah, scanning or something like that. But anyway, they start playing this tape, and then within a couple of seconds, it starts getting blurry. And the guy goes, "Oh, I'll just go over here and adjust the settings." And it cuts over to Spike kicking this antique beta player, just destroying it with each kick. And it cuts back to the guy's face, and he's just frozen, horrified, with like sweat and like drool coming out of his mouth because Spike has just destroyed this priceless antique.
The last working Betamax machine.
And Jet's just like, Spike, what are you doing? He's like, what? My ship works better when I kick it. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, they go down and get the beta. They go down to the ruins of old Earth and find a beta player in like this old electronic store in Tokyo or whatever. Mm-hmm. And another great joke about that episode is that they accidentally bring back a VHS player instead of a beta, so they've got to go back down and get the beta player. Mm-hmm. They get the wrong one.
Yep. So
okay. Anyway.
So back to Cells at Work.
I'm almost up to date on it. I am one episode behind just because I haven't had the chance to watch.
Right.
They delved in that show too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've seen the blood. I've seen Blood Flow. I've seen the cancer episodes. I've seen the influenza, food poisoning, allergies.
Yeah. The heat stroke is a pretty fun episode.
Heat stroke.
Mm-hmm, that's last week's.
I haven't seen Heat Stroke yet, no.
And this week, it's a two-parter. I think it's hepatitis.
Ooh.
I could be wrong, though. I probably remembering the name of the episode wrong. But it's a two-parter. It was called Part 1 in the episode. Mm. So I may just wait till Saturday. Okay. And just watch episodes back-to-back. But, no. Cells at Work is great. I mean, literally everybody online who's talked about it has been praising it because it's just so good. Not good as in, this will change your life. Good as in it's just a fun, well-made show.
Yeah.
Watch it. I actually read the manga Cells at Work Black. Mm. That is not getting a show anytime soon.
No.
Not, at least I don't think it is. But Cells at Work Black is what happens in your body when
you're massively unhealthy.
When you are unhealthy.
Yeah.
Like smoking cigarettes, drinking booze. Like they go
morbidly obese.
More obese, out of weight. Like the arteries are just clogged up, so the roads inside are all rocky and stuff, and they're constantly changing. And cells are illegally dumping things into the blood veins, making it even rockier type thing. They go to the liver in one episode, and there's these beautiful women there. It's like a hostess club, where these beautiful women there are taking care of, like, alcohol is just like shot down as a shower, like fire extinguishers. And so the cells just get drunk just by working, and so they go to the liver to relieve themselves of this alcohol, and they drink some stuff to get better. And then a couple chapters later, they find that they go back to the liver, but the body's been drinking so much that these beautiful women, they're all just run ragged and stuff. They look like cheap prostitutes now rather than, beautiful, elegant hostesses.
Wrecked, yes.
They're just a wreck. It's real sad seeing what life is like inside of a body where you just don't take care of yourself.
Wow.
So it's a huge difference. This one's kind of a light-hearted show for kids.
One of the big benefits of the show that you brought up earlier. It's the science, and it actually is. It almost is like a learning cartoon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, and they show like the character, the body is going bald, and that's increasing stress, and stress acts, and like the helper T cell says, well, in order for us to get rid of this, we've got to go ahead and kill. We've got like the helper's T cell sends the T cells to go up and take care of what's going on in the head, and the T cells are so overstressed that they are killing the cells that are taking care of the hair. So yeah, so it's a much darker story. There's a reason it's called Cells at Work Black. Mm. They also end up. There's a chapter where they deal with an STD.
Yeah.
And it's not fun, especially since all the white blood cells get slaughtered by these creatures that are the STDs, and they are shaped like genitalia, these creatures.
Oh,
so
right.
Another reason why it probably will never be animated, because that stuff will probably be blurred out.
Right.
Anyway, Cells at Work is delightful. If you want to have a bad time, read Cells at Work Black.
Okay. And then the next episode.
Episode 21, Nisekoi. I freaking love this show.
Nisekoi is a great one.
I finished season 1 just this last week.
Okay.
And season 1 ends
You don't
with season 1 ends with them putting on a class play of Romeo and Juliet.
That's such a great ending.
The last 4 episodes, in fact, talk about how they're going to put on Romeo and Juliet as a play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, season 1 has a great ending. Especially, it's not really a spoiler since you see them falling for each other throughout the entire thing. But, Chitoge, she's realized that she's in love with the guy. And she wants to actually be his real girlfriend now and not his fake one. But she is so tsundere that she cannot bring herself to say it to him.
Right.
And season 2, it starts off with her deciding that she wants him to be his girl. She wants to be his real girlfriend, and so she tries to start molding him into the perfect boyfriend. So, which always goes well.
For those who may not know, the premise of this show.
Okay, so the premise of this show, if you've watched our episode, we talk about the first 3 episodes, but brief recap. Our main hero, is the son of a Yakuza boss.
Okay.
And a American gangster has moved to Japan with his gang and is encroaching on their territory. And so there's a war that's about to break out between them. But it turns out that this American gangster is old friends with this Yakuza boss. And so to stop their particular gangs from going to war against each other, they decide to arrange a relationship between their children who hate each other.
So bottom line, ladies and gentlemen, it's a harem anime where the 2 main characters hate each other instead of liking each other.
But they have to pretend to be boyfriend and girlfriend to stop a blood war.
To stop
a war that would tear the city apart.
It is the exact opposite of the premise of Romeo and Juliet.
Exactly.
But the
is just so brilliant that they put Romeo and Juliet in the last 4 episodes.
Other girls get introduced as well.
So this guy has a big crush on one girl.
He's got a big crush on a girl that he believes is his childhood friend. Like, he spent a summer at some place, he can't remember where, but he hopes beyond hope that the girl in his class that is an absolute sweetheart is the girl from that time period.
Yes.
That he made a promise with that they would get married when they got together.
And then he meets another girl who he doesn't realize is a girl for the first episode.
Yep. And he only realizes that she's a girl when she has fallen into the pool and has gone unconscious. So he goes to undress her because thinking it's a boy, undress him to get him out of his wet clothing.
Because it's autumn and it's cold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But then he realizes that this is a girl. Oh no.
And then she wakes up.
Uh-huh.
And then because it's an anime and everybody's going to misunderstand, people start coming in and they're going to see him undressing a girl and think all these sort of awful things about him. So to save himself the situation, they both hide in a locker together.
Mm-hmm.
Pressed up against each other for a period of time. And then she, over a course of a few episodes, realizes that she's fallen in love with this guy and can't deal with it and wants to shoot him so that his corpse is...
She also doesn't want to get in the way of her boss. She's kind of the personal bodyguard of Chitoge.
Yeah. She wants to be in love with her, but she's just infatuation.
Yeah, but she... Anyway, Chitoge... It's thanks to Chitoge that this other character, this blue-haired girl, starts becoming more feminine throughout the series because she keeps trying to bring that side of her out because she thinks it's cute.
And that's a great transformation.
It is. It's slow, but it's great.
And then we get the redhead.
Who is convinced that she is his childhood friend. She's
the daughter of the chief of police,
who has both the Yakuza and the gang boss scared. He's just that intense of a person. Yeah.
Great show.
Well, and then we actually learned that It's so much fun. And then in season 2, which you guys haven't seen yet, in season 2, it starts getting more and more complicated because it turns out it wasn't just one girl that he spent his time with that summer. He only remembers one, but more and more it becomes more apparent that every single girl that he's met so far was involved in that summer. Except for the blue-haired girl.
Except for the blue-haired
fun!
girl.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So is it more than just those 3?
I think it's just those 3.
Because they established it was those 3 in season 1.
There is another girl that shows up. She's a white-haired girl who is another mob assassin. And she comes after the blue-haired girl because she thinks she's gone soft. I sent you the picture that said, "Please give me my seriousness back."
Uh-huh.
That's her.
Okay.
That's her.
I've seen that one.
Yeah. Please give me my seriousness back.
I don't remember that picture.
I'll have to show it to you again.
Okay.
But yeah, no, Nisekoi is just
is
great.
a great show.
Yeah.
Great one.
Yeah.
Okay. Then after Nisekoi, we have The Slayers.
Episode 22, Slayers. The
All right.
Slayers.
And we were lucky that it just happened to drop onto Crunchyroll the same week.
I don't know if you listened to that, but Slayer,
Oh,
Lee
I did.
wanted to watch Slayers, and I was like, awesome, Crunchyroll just added it, let's go ahead and do it. Well, I got home that night and I checked it out. It wasn't Slayers that they added. It was Slayers Revolution, which is seasons 4 and 5.
Yes.
And I'm like, well, we probably shouldn't do this because or I can loan him my DVDs.
Yeah.
Because really, with Slayers, you have to start at the beginning.
Oh, yes.
And so I offered that to him, and then the very next day that I offered it to him, Crunchyroll added Slayers. They've now added Slayers Next, which is the 2nd season.
Yes.
And I think they're going to be adding Slayers Try here.
No, they have.
They have Tries up there.
I caught that on a Crunchyroll tweet.
Okay, awesome.
Today.
Slayers Try is now up. Awesome. I haven't watched it anymore just because I've seen the entire show several times, and I love it. I just had other things I needed to watch.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah, I haven't gotten more into it yet either.
Oh, sorry.
I've been binge watching Nisekoi and Sound Euphonium and Violet Evergarden this whole time, and so Slayers was on my back burner list.
Here's what we can do after we finish Overlord and Attack on Titan, which is what we're watching right now.
Right.
We can go ahead and have Psychopaths be our next show.
Right.
And then Slayers be the comedy to get us out of the slump that Psychopaths is going to put us into. We'll watch 2 episodes of Psychopaths and then 2 episodes of Slayers.
You know, that's not a bad idea.
No, it's not. So we start off with something dark, make sure the kids are in bed.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And then we lightened up the mood with Slayers, which I still hold as one of the funniest anime I've ever seen.
Okay.
Like, I love Nisekoi. All these comedy, like Cromartie High School, amazing. Hinamatsuri, amazing.
So as it turns
Magical
out,
Ore, Excel Saga, all of them pale in comparison to Slayers, in my opinion.
Okay.
Slayers is just that funny.
So you told me this outside of the podcast, but now we have to reveal it on the podcast.
Yeah.
As it turns out, the voice actress for Lena Inverse...
I was going to save this little bit of information for when we actually do watch that show, but we can go ahead and do it now.
The voice actress for Lena Inverse...
English or Japanese?
Japanese. Okay. Her name is Megumi something.
Let me go ahead and pull it up. Lena Inverse, Japanese voice actress.
They named Megumin from...
The voice actress's name, that's right.
Megumi Hayashibara is the Japanese voice actress for
we love
Lena
her.
Inverse.
She does
voice
acting.
She does amazing stuff.
So Megumin from Konosuba is named after the voice actress for Lena Inverse.
Yep. So Lena Inverse, the most destructive sorceress in existence, as homage to her, they named their explosives expert Megumin.
Which I still love that picture of her. Number 1 Megumin cosplay is a hand grenade with a Megumin hat.
Megumin is also an underdeveloped sorceress, just like Lena.
Yes, she is.
Ooh.
Oh gosh!
Great is the show.
Yes,
that teaches us that no matter how bad things get, they can always get inverse.
I have never heard that before, and I love it. Oh my gosh, no. We're going to watch Konosuba for episode 26.
Sadly, I didn't make that up. It was on one of the DVD covers for one of the movies.
That's
fantastic.
I have all the movies. I'll have to check the covers. Anyway, yeah, no, Slayers, watch it if you haven't watched it. It's all on Crunchyroll. It's so good.
So what order do you watch Slayers in?
One, Slayers next, Slayers try. The movies, don't watch. Well, the movies you can watch them at any time except for one because they are prequels. They take place before.
Okay.
Yes.
I would recommend not watching them until after. I would probably watch Slayers season 1 first.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one. I think it's just called Slayers the Motion Picture. I could be wrong. I'm trying to remember which one that's called.
That's what it's called.
But there's one that it actually has the entire cast in it. And it's the one I think I told you about it.
Yeah,
it's
you did.
Yeah, it's the one where they all get cursed with the octopus language.
Yes.
And whenever they say "I'm sorry," they say "mudenash," which means flat-chested.
Yep.
And Lena, of course, reacts the way Lena reacts.
Yes, she reacts the way that any
That being
self-respecting
said,
sorceress
that
would
being said, Lena
react.
is still one of my all-time favorite anime characters. She's just so great. Anyway,
So what are your thoughts on Slayers?
I'm with him. It's one of those. It's one of those first shows, one of those first animes that I ever saw, and just for my official 2 cents on the matter, Angel, the new generation was asking about it because I got quoting it. Well, and you brought it up at the game, if you recall. So Angel has now been watching it.
Slayers. Okay.
Ty doesn't want to watch it. So
Shame
Angel's just watching it by herself, and suddenly my phone is like blowing up at like 2 to like 4 a.m. and I'm just like most people, sadly. And I know they say you shouldn't do this, but I keep my phone on my nightstand just in case of emergencies and stuff like that. And it's also my alarm clock. But so she's totally blowing up my phone. And she's like, "This show's so great! Guess what happened?" What?
Gower did something silly, didn't he?
Yes, exactly. Point being, great show, and it is one that, having shared it with the generation under me, they love it too.
Yay.
So it is fun for all ages.
Slayers is just so.
And let us make sure that we pass it on to the next generation.
Episode 23. Let's go ahead and get going. We're almost done here.
Okay.
Episode 23. A certain scientific railgun.
Yeah, so this is a sequel series to A Certain Magical Index. So we did
episode
episode 2.
Parallel series.
So it's so episode 2 and then episode 23. We've covered these two. So I only watched the first 3 episodes. No, I watched the 4th episode, which they actually do introduce Toma.
They introduce
more
Toma.
so into the story.
Yeah, that's the one where he first grabs her. And what's sad is later on, Toma's gone for a while, then Toma comes back, and it's the episode where he's in front of the vending machine, which is when they first introduced Misaka. I don't know if it's the first time, but they introduced Misaka again in Certain Magical Index.
Yeah.
And if you've watched Index, you know that that's the point where Toma's lost his memory.
Yes, Toma loses his memory.
And now we see it from Misaka's point of view, and you can see why she reacts the way she reacts. Because she's already had several interactions with him, and then he's acting like he doesn't know her, and she gets pissed. And like, oh, that's why she acted that way. Okay. And if you watch,
So
And so for me, this all kind of boils back to the fact that I've seen Railgun, but I haven't seen Index, and so
but watch
which
Index.
is the other reason why with Railgun, it's a hard watch because I have no context on what's going on.
They get into
now that you said that it's a parallel show where watching the one that came out first, because I'm guessing Magical Index came out first.
Yeah.
Okay, so after watching that one, providing you with context for all these little things, that I keep picking up on, but I have to keep asking, okay, so why was that? Why did that happen that way? Why did the characters react that way? There was no backstory. I was not given background story for what happened there in this episode, and so the show can be very, very difficult to watch without that context. But
that's true.
I managed to get through it, and despite the first couple of episodes being a little too heavy on the what do they call it? It's the
fan
girl-
service.
The fan service.
Well, the girl infatuation.
Yeah.
That
Kuroko is very much into Misaka, and Misaka won't have any of it.
The sexual assault.
they seem to be hitting a little heavy with that. In the episodes.
And I felt the exact same thing actually with Index at first, where they kind of hit the fan service quite a bit. Because Toma, one of the first things he does to Index is she says that she's wearing this magical robe that keeps her protected, and he's like, anything I touch that's magical or scientific gets destroyed, and like including his own cell phone.
He can only touch his cell phone with his left hand.
Yeah,
right?
but he and she's just like, whatever you have, I bet my robe is stronger. He's like, okay, and he touches her robe, and she goes, haha, see, and nothing happens. She's like, haha, see. Then all of a sudden, her robe rips to shreds. Her robe rips to shreds, and that's why in all the fan art, or in all the art after that point for Index, she's wearing the same robe, but she has 3 big golden pins that are holding it all together.
Yes.
But yeah, she then reacts and starts biting him and being mean to him and stuff like that, even though she did technically ask him to do it.
Of course.
But yeah, no. So Toma, who's a side character in Railgun, is the main character in Index.
Gotcha.
So there's a big... I love seeing Railgun, though.
Well, that's good, because I like Toma. Toma's cool.
I love seeing the story that happens in Index from Misaka's point of view, though. Because you haven't met the sisters yet, have you?
No.
Okay. Accelerator. I'll just say the sisters, because you know what I'm talking to.
I know who the sisters are, and I know their relationship with
Misaka.
And with the Accelerator.
An Accelerator.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
And so... we get to the arc with the sisters, and we see just how much it affects Misaka. And we see what she tries to do, and then we see Toma. And Toma's actions are the exact same as the actions that he took in Index, but they're from Misaka's point of view this time.
Wow.
And it could be seen as kind of a letdown to people who don't know Index, because Toma's the one who does the fighting in this part, because Misaka can't. Right. She's completely powerless at this point. But Toma does the fighting, and it's a recreation of the fight that happened in Index. I will just say this, though. There are 3 other arcs in Index, or in Railgun. Or probably more than that. But Misaka has her day to shine in every single one of them. And you just see how incredibly powerful she really is.
Coin versus incoming car, episode 3.
Episode 1.
Episode 1?
That was episode 1. Yeah. Coin versus incoming car. Cool. No, she's a
mass driver.
She is a mass driver. She is a certain scientific railgun.
She has the ability to magnify the iron in the sand around her and use it as a weapon. That is so cool. She clings
she does that.
She clings to walls that have. She clings to walls that have steel rebar in them because she can make.
Oh yeah, she did that in episode 4.
Was that Index?
That was in episode 4 of Index when she's challenging Toma.
Okay.
She's able to pull out a sword of.
We also see her doing it in the opening credits.
Yeah, it's true. But no, she's incredibly powerful for a 14-year-old girl. That's something I have to remember. She's 14.
Yeah.
No, I'm personally super excited to have a certain certain magical Index season 3 starting in about a week. So
it's not Railgun 3?
No, it's not Railgun 3. It's
Index 3.
Index 3. It's Toma's point of view. It's like I'm pretty sure Railgun is done. It was the manga didn't. It was a parallel manga. They didn't release very much of it because they were focusing on Toma's story. Yeah. But yeah, I'm really excited. Really excited to see what happens next in Toma's story.
Toma, you buried me.
Now, I do have one that I want to bring up with these. Can you watch one and then watch the other?
Yeah.
Or do you have to intersperse them like?
No, we didn't intersperse
like with the DC TV universe.
Do you have to intersperse them with the Arrowverse? No, sorry. You don't need. I don't think we need to intersperse them the way you do the Arrowverse.
No. Like I watched all of Index, all of it. Like we watched it early on. And I knew I wanted to do Railgun at some point, but I wanted to give him time to watch Index. but you never had the time to until I was like, look, I want to add Railgun to the show, and you're like, oh, okay, and then you watched the first season, so we could do Railgun. I watched all of Index first, and then I watched all of Railgun, and it was just fine for me. However, you saw online that
I saw online that it's recommended you watch Index Season 1, Railgun Season 1, Index Season 2, Railgun Season 2.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Okay.
Yep, I absolutely loved Index's introduction in Railgun, though. Mm-hmm. You see her running down the street chasing after one of the cleaning robots. And she's yelling at it because it ate her donut. And, and she just says,
So that's Index?
That's Index. Okay. That's Index. She's this tiny little adorable girl.
Yeah.
She's 14, though. She's just super small for her age. But she's...
Have you met, is the pink-haired lowly teacher?
She is in Railgun.
Yeah,
she is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's Toma's homeroom teacher.
And she plays a really important role
and a
in
chain
it as well.
smoker.
Mm-hmm. And drinker. Chain smoker, heavy drinker.
The smoker. Oh, she drinks too. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, goody.
Lowly teacher. She ends up being really important, kind of as a secret base of operation for Toma and stuff like that.
Fast Times at Super Esper High. Oh yeah.
But it's. I just want to keep talking about it because it's such a great show. Anyway, it's been recommended watch season 1, then season 1, then season 2, then season 2. Oh, that's right. I wanted to bring up her first appearance, Index's first appearance. She is chasing down a cleaning robot, and she's yelling at it for taking her donut. Give me back my donut. Give me back my donut. And this teacher, a lot of teachers have 2 jobs. This teacher is also part of Anti-Skill, the police force that they have in Academy City.
Yep.
And so she's working as a police officer right now. And so she goes over and says, "What's going on?" And Index says, This robot came and took my donut. Toma taught me about the ever-important universal 3-second rule. As long as it's been on the ground for less than 3 seconds, I can pick it back up and eat it. But that was on the ground for less than 3 seconds, and this robot came and took it, and I want my donut back! And that's the first time you see Index in Railgun. You only see her a couple other times, but it's one of those times where you know... But if you've seen Index...
Well,
the point of the story that they're at.
And again, it's another one of these really great scenes where, you see the situation and you laugh. It's like, wait, where's my context? Who is this?
Like, why is
Who's this weirdo? Why is she beating on the robot? Yeah.
Why on earth is this little girl, we saw another glimpse of that little girl in the white nun outfit. Why is she there, you know?
Exactly, yes, exactly.
And it's just it's a centering point for people who've seen both shows.
Yes, gotcha.
But, after the battle with Accelerator, we see Misaka interacting with the sisters and stuff like that. And then for just half a second, we have a clip of Index running through the hospital. So people who don't know Index would be completely lost for she's going to visit Toma.
Now there's an episode. Okay, now you, before this episode, something you shared with me was fan art of what was it? It was a Mother's Basement. But the guy was wearing.
It's his costume. It's his anime Pope outfit.
Yeah. The anime Pope. He's wearing the same robe as Index.
The anime Pope.
Yes.
What?
It's a guy on YouTube. I don't always agree with what he has to say, but he usually has very fun videos.
Oh, that guy.
He's got
Mother's Basement and anime service videos. Where. How to survive in public service anime, PSA.
Public service anime. One of his, it's how to survive in an isekai.
Yeah.
Or how to identify what kind of isekai you're in. If you are in isekai D, which is deconstruction isekai, don't do anything. You're damned anyways.
He also has one that says,
"Well, thanks, Anime Pope.
How to tell if your daughter is a magical girl? Does she sit in this particular chair?" That's cool.
That could be spooky.
It's like the chair closest to the window, second from the back.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god!
It's the one that Cardcaptor
sit there. Whoa.
Yeah, it's where Cardcaptor Sakura sits. It's where.
Does she suddenly have a penchant for stuffed animals? Does she have a stuffed animal you don't remember buying for her?
Does she have a series of friends who have no business being friends with each other?
Yeah, you should check it out. They're really, really funny. Anyway, we've been going pretty long, a lot longer than I thought we would, but we need to wrap up. We've got episode 24, and then we're going to go ahead and do our wrap-up.
Yep.
Episode 24, El Hazard. That's you. You go ahead and read the title. You're supposed to do it.
Yeah, El Hazard, The Wanderers. And so this is Tenchi Muyo's long-lost cousin.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, in the first episode, they have a Sasami cameo.
Yeah.
They do.
They do.
Uh-huh.
So I haven't watched more than the first 3 episodes. I've been finishing up Nisekoi instead of going further into El Hazard, but I want to watch more.
I plan on watching more. I actually wanted to watch it. I decided to go ahead and watch it after I finished Railgun. Railgun was the priority for me, but now that I finished it, I'm actually kind of sad because there's another arc for Railgun that was only released on Blu-rays in Japan, so I don't think it's going to be released here in the States. But it was another Railgun, a certain Scientific Railgun S is Season 2, and then this OVA arc was a certain Scientific Railgun SS.
Okay.
So, it has to do with them going on some kind of a school trip, because Railgun takes place over summer vacation.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, I really want to watch more of El Hazard. It was a lot of fun what we watched.
Yeah, and
just crazy over the top '90s anime.
And like I said, I wanted to
Had that great old feel.
I wanted to get introduced to the character Shayla.
Yeah.
The Fire Priestess. Because I had that Anime Mayhem card of hers, and I was interested in the character design. I'm like, I want to know more about this character, and so that's just on my to-do list.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Anything else we want to say? That's the first season of Whittaker Weekly. That's 24 episodes.
Sure is. I got a message actually that I wanted to bring up. One of our earliest creator shoutouts was to a Hyde Clarklin, who runs Hide My Error Cosplay.
Oh, okay.
She reached out to me today and said, "Hey, I know we haven't chatted in a while, but I want to let you know that I've started listening to your podcast at work. It's a lot of fun, and I'm really enjoying hearing about a lot of anime that I just haven't had time to watch."
Cool.
And so she reached out to me, and we got to chatting a little bit. And
That is the great service that Whittaker Weekly provides. Telling us about a lot of great shows that sadly we just don't have time to watch.
Well, we definitely want to go ahead.
We usually, after listening to this podcast, some of us find time
Good
to watch at least one episode or two.
Okay, so
fantastic.
Just as a reminder, next week we're going to be starting up the next season. Unless we wanted to take a week off between seasons, I don't know. We'll talk. But anyways, the next episode, whenever it's going to happen, the very next one we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and force another anime on you, which he hasn't watched. And I could have sworn you've watched it.
You introduced me to episode 1, honestly expecting me to just on my own watch the rest.
Yeah,
but I don't have the time to watch episodes as much as it.
Oh, child, what is wrong with you?
Anyway,
I'm just sitting here waiting for season 2 of No Game No Life.
I doubt that's ever going to happen.
Yeah,
apparently it gets pretty raunchy in the light novels. Like after the light novel.
Got more than a little raunchy in the anime.
Well, far worse than what's in the anime.
I just need to see Steph abused more.
Oh gosh, slamming her head against things, shattering stone with her bare head.
Oh, that girl is a thing.
Wait, Steph?
Yeah, no.
Are you secretly intelligent?
Like the light novels are like in America, anyways. I get a newsletter from Yen Press because Yen Press is they're the people who release Overlord. They release The Devil's a Part-Timer for the manga and stuff, or not for the manga, for the maybe the manga, but I know at least the light novels. And I saw that the latest issue of No Game No Life had an adults only mark on it, or warning. A warning talking about the graphic, or like the adult nature of the light novel. I'm just like, she's 10. Come on, you guys.
Yeah.
So we're probably never going to get more No Game No Life. Anyway, what we are going to be watching and discussing, because you haven't watched it yet, shame of shame, is Konosuba. Konosuba, God's blessing on this wonderful world. And I've actually started reading the light novels for these as well. And it was a laugh a minute for me because I completely forgotten what happened in season 1. I'm really excited to watch season 1 because of this.
Konosuba was awesome.
And make sure you watch season 1, not season 2.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll make sure.
All right, but here is the about. This about is from Crunchyroll, directly from Crunchyroll. After a traffic accident, Kazuma Sato's disappointingly brief life was supposed to be over, but he wakes up to see a beautiful girl before him. She claims to be a goddess, Aqua, and asks if he would like to go to another world and bring only one thing with him. Kazuma decides to bring the goddess herself, and they are transported to a fantasy world filled with adventure, ruled by a demon king. Now Kazuma only wants to live in peace. But Aqua wants to solve many of this world's problems, and the Demon King will only turn a blind eye for so long.
I have seen episode 1 of this, and I'm just reminded that when another goddess stepped in to hear that Aqua's being kicked out, she would just all too gladly oversaw Aqua being teleported to this other world which she'll never come back from.
And you learn why they wanted to get rid of Aqua, because she's useless. She is so useless. Anyway, we're going to watch Konosuba for our next episode, whenever that's going to be.
And we'll be spending a good while on that one.
Yes, we will. Anyway, that's it for 3 episodes in, and the review of season 1 of 3 episodes in. What do we have in store for that? Well, let's go ahead and go to our creator shout-out.
So, Matt, what have you been working on lately?
Yeah, real fast, this is Matt Moody. We didn't really give him an introduction. We know him through being our dungeon master for quite some time. I don't really have time to play with Matt any longer, unfortunately.
It's fine,
But-
it's fine.
But yeah, Matt is a storyteller. He is an artist and
one
a
of the
DM.
hosts of the, what's your podcast called?
Coalition Dead Boys.
Yeah, Coalition Dead Boys.
It's for Palladium. It's for Palladium Books Incorporated and Palladium Games. It's where we talk about. That is where I do a lot of the talking about the games that I run. But we also talk about the things that Palladium Books are coming out with, and basically it's a lot of great free advertising, not just for Palladium Books, but for all my friends, and whatever games and whatever things that they're into. We always make sure to talk about those and give them a shout out. And also when I put those up, I also make sure to provide links, both as part of the video and when I put them up on the site itself. So, Coalition Dead Boys, we're doing an episode this week. Hopefully I'm not overplaying my hand, but when I was at the FRANXX, this was a couple weeks ago, I was at the FRANXX. Now it helps, first and foremost, it helps when you send them emails and say, I'm looking forward to seeing you. Because when I sent Vic Minyama an email this time saying, I'm glad you're coming to the FRANXX this time, look forward to seeing you, they actually do remember you when you do this. And I actually do have a shout out from Vic for Coalition Dead Boys this time around. He looked us up,
Awesome.
took a look at what we did. But I also sent him, over to where you guys are. So
Really?
he's always happy to see podcasts about anime. So he said he'd give it a shot. But he said make sure to remind me a couple of times because he gets a lot of emails and a lot of people talk to him. But
now,
anyway, so
tell me you know who Vic is.
Yeah, the voice actor for Edward Elric.
Yep.
Vic Mignogna, I think his last name is. Yeah.
Very nice, very wonderful man. We always love seeing him at Comic-Con and he loves showing up at Salt Lake because he knows that he can wear religion. He knows he can wear Christianity on his sleeves out here, and it's a great thing.
Okay.
But that
he's also
also
a main character in what's the name of that? Oron High School Host Club.
Which is on my queue. It's on my Netflix queue.
And
So maybe we'll put that in one of our future episodes.
I'll hold off if you want to do that.
Okay. And you can look this up because Vic has told this story. Vic got in the English dub for free. But the story that he tells everybody for how he got the part was when he walked in to do the audition, he and a bunch of other voice actors were actually doing quotes from 50% off.
Because 50% off is comic gold.
Which part did he get? Is he going for Nagisa?
I think he's the gay best friend, or the effeminate friend. I think is who he's doing the voice work for.
I'm sorry, the gay best friend describes all of the characters.
Or he's probably the little blonde, or he could be the little blonde.
If
kid.
he's the little blonde kid,
he said that he got the part by walking in and making fun of the show, and he said he's never gotten a part by walking in and making fun of the show before.
It's because 50% off is just gold. It is so good.
I was watching some Lindsay Shepherd today, and it turns out that apparently that's how James Woods got the part of Hades. Is that everybody was auditioning and they were doing they did their own interpretation of Hades, going doing their most gruff, I am the Lord of Darkness, kind of characters. And he went, hey guys, Lord of Darkness, how you doing? What's up? He just felt like being silly that day. And so he birthed the greatest Disney character off of being silly one day.
She hates Hercules, though, doesn't she?
Well, he is the best character in one of the worst shows. The show couldn't be made up, but he's like the best character, and he also voiced himself in the TV series.
Yeah,
where the best line ever came up, where he's
Pluto. They wouldn't name me Pluto. I wouldn't name my dog Pluto.
What kind of name for a god is Pluto? I wouldn't name my dog Pluto.
Okay,
but again, just to finish mine out, yes, again, the name of my podcast is Coalition Dead Boys. I talk about just games I'm running and games that other people are doing.
Mm-hmm.
So any games or books or anything else that you guys are into, I sent a link to your book to the Palladium site.
Nice.
Because if you remember what I told you, the guys are really big on, they just buy stuff to read.
That's
what they do.
Okay.
So I sent them a link for that. And what else I am actually into? I'm doing a lot more with my art these days.
Cool.
I'm painting,
do you have a gallery?
I'm painting again. Not yet.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not digital.
Okay.
It's just not how I came up. So
a
lot of my art is still done by hand.
No, it makes perfect sense, man.
But that's what I'm doing more of, and I'm hoping to use it for, again, I'm still in the process of creating my own role-playing game, my own role-playing system.
Nice.
Because I have a mechanic that nobody's used yet, so second I have the money, patent it.
Cool.
Sounds
good
good.
deal, man. Just real fast with news about my book. I launched the physical version last week.
Right.
I'm very, very excited about that. It's on Amazon right now, $14.99.
Mm-hmm.
If you pick up the physical version, you get a copy of the digital version for free.
Oh, fantastic.
So, yeah, The Devil from the River by Andrew Whittaker.
And we're going to go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I thought
just,
that was. Oh.
No, that's fine.
No,
I
it's
guess
fine.
we could have made a bigger deal about that.
No, it's totally fine.
And we'll link out to that as our recommendation of the week for this podcast episode.
Okay. Well, that's it. That's it for today, I guess. Thanks so much for tuning in and listening to us, guys. It means a lot. We're still just starting out with this thing, but we're happy to hear the feedback that we're hearing from the people who are enjoying it. We love anime. We love talking about it. If you want to talk to us about it, you can go ahead and become a patron, and you will get access to our Discord server, where we just, we got lots of rooms where people can talk about anime. We're still starting off, so it's not very big yet, but we're hoping to create a thriving community of people who just love what we love. Yeah, where can they find us on social media?
If they come to the website, whittakerweekly.com. That's Whittaker with 2 T's. Then they can get access to our Facebook page, our Twitter account, our YouTube channel, or our Patreon page. And that's where we're on social media right now. If there's any platforms out there that you will prefer to see us on, reach out to us, and we're more than willing to branch out and reach out to you on the social media platform of your choice.
You can send me an invite to your Discord.
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
If you haven't done that already.
I don't know why we haven't done that yet.
You should have automatically received one from being a patron.
Oh,
but,
I might have, and I might not just respond.
So
Okay.
we'll just we'll double check.
There's a lot on Discord. Shoot, I really need to go through that.
Okay.
There aren't enough hours in a day. This social media stuff.
That's
It's
true.
Like a part-time job.
It's true. All right. Well, thanks again so much for listening, you guys. We're probably just going to record next week, but we're going to go ahead and talk about it right after this, just because it's a season. I think we should do something. But because it's it's 25 episodes. It's a milestone for us. A lot of podcasts go 5 episodes before before they stop. But we're gonna keep doing this because even we just love discussing anime and watching anime. Thanks for being there for us. And
Kurobasa.
what?
Kurobasa.
Konosuba.
Oh, Konosuba.
Konosuba. Anyway.
Cabaneri
Someone.
and the Iron Fortress.
Cabaneri of the Iron Fortress. Anyways,
Cabaneri.
thanks so much. I've been Andrew.
I've been Lee.
Matt.
And this has been Whittaker Weekly. We'll catch you next week.